Why do most leaders fail faster than their teams? Well, I just had my wife come up to the podcast here just a second ago, and she walked in and she said, "Hey, I need your help." And my wife is one of the greatest hairdressers in the world. She has a client, but she asked a question. Most leaders don't ask questions, and they don't ask questions of other people. They don't ask questions of themselves. They just think like, I just need to move forward and I can't show any vulnerability and I can't do any of those things. But also when I ask this question, why do leaders fail faster than their teams? Well, most of the time it's because they don't stick to the plan. Well, that poses the question, what is the plan? I'm glad you asked, because in Proverbs 28, it gives wisdom's plan for leadership. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got two shines, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Big shout out to Bird Gang. I am wearing a shirt today. If you're watching, you could see it. If you're listening, I'm wearing a really cool shirt. It's got some palm trees on it. It's a kind of shirt that I generally don't wear. It is a golf shirt. It's by a brand called Bird Gang, and I tell you, it makes me feel like a golfer. Now, my golf game is garbage, and you definitely want me to go golfing with you because you will feel better about yourself. You will feel like the greatest golfer of all time, and you will realize just how good you are when you see my game. I would say my brother compared my swing to Charles Barkley. And, I tell you, but my brother got me onto Bird Gang, and my brother Brad actually works with the company, does all the media for him and social media and everything like that. But Bird Gang, you have to check these shirts out. I tell you, it's one of the best fitting shirts. I love it. I'm not golfing today, but I wanted to wear it. And I tell you, I feel like a golfer while I'm doing it. It will not improve your game at all. And if you're good, maybe it'll just make you feel better. And if you look good, then you feel good and you play good. That's what my brother says. I just haven't added the play good part to it. So let's get into this leadership thing, because I just had an experience. My wife just walked up just a second ago and into the studio. She's down in the salon. She has a client that just flew in from Vegas. That's how great of a hairdresser she is. But she took the time to come and ask me a question. She had a question, she asked it, and she was vulnerable in that situation. And that's what leaders do, right? And most of the time, what I found is leaders fail faster than their team because they don't stick to the plan. And most leaders don't even really have a plan. That's the crazy thing. They just kind of make it up or wing it or whatever it is. And when I looked at Proverbs 28, it was saying wisdom's plan for leadership is a little bit different. Now, wisdom, when I say this, wisdom is the right use of knowledge. Wisdom comes from the fear of God. The fear of God is just the respect of God. So watch this. Respect of God is the beginning of wisdom. So when we get wisdom, that brings knowledge in, then we can get understanding, then we get insight, then we get discretion, then we get discernment, then we get discipline, then we get strength, and it comes back to the fear of God. Now, when that cycle is broken, and if you didn't catch that right off the bat, it's in the book Inchstones. You could pick it up. It's the link in the bio. Inchstones, the Vibe Within. It's a journal that takes you through the corresponding proverb, corresponding day, but it has that circle. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Wisdom's the right use of knowledge. Then we can bring knowledge in. We can bring understanding, insight, discretion, discernment, discipline, strength, and it leads you back to the fear of God. Now, that type of plan has lasted the test of time. Wisdom is 3,000 year old. Like, this is what, when we're talking about Proverbs, this was written 3,000 years ago. And when I look at it, it's principle based, and it's lasted the test of time. It has gone through the not only the test of time, but test of circumstances. So that's why I wanted to look at it and say, why do leaders fail faster than their teams? Well, it's because they don't stick to the plan, and it poses the question, what is the plan? Well, here's wisdom's plan. If you want to utilize it, you can. If not, proceed at your own risk. And so in verse 1, boldness and confidence comes from doing right. Well, this is the tough thing, is as a leader, a lot of times we justify our right based off of the results that we want to get. But if we take the results out and we say what is right, and I've been around leaders that have done the right thing for the right reason, and the right thing turns out not always on their time, but over a long period of time. And it creates sustainability, which we're going to get into here in a bit. But let's stick in this. Boldness and confidence comes from doing what's right. Well, how do we know what's right? Let's go back to the circle. When we fear or respect God, meaning that we just spend time with him, hear his words, see his actions, they're in line, that creates respect. What we'll find is that will give way to wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge. And that right use of knowledge will help us to understand what to do at the right time. Like the specific thing, the right thing to do at the right time. Now, sometimes it's the right thing, but it's not the right time or the right circumstance. What is right? This is the tough thing because it can be subjective, but we have to be in that moment and present there and be led by something that is wiser than us. And so boldness and confidence comes from doing right. And I tell you, every single leader has to have boldness and has to have confidence. Otherwise, you get into challenges. The second part of the plan is discernment and knowledge creates sustainability. Discernment comes from discretion, right? So when we have discretion and we are able to look at things, we're able to look at all the aspects. Now, I'm not good at this because I have the tendency to go on infomercials and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my wife stopped me from watching them years ago because I'd watch and it would be like, oh, you don't ever have to work out if you just do 6 minutes of watching this video. And then it'd get to the end of the video 2 hours later and it'd be like, the only way that this won't work is if you actually don't do the work. And I was like, no, that's not what you said at first. You just said, watch the video. And I didn't take time to have discretion. Like I didn't look at it on both sides. I just looked at it at the part that sounded good to me. And this is where leaders fail fast, is when we say, oh my gosh, I just see the upside. Well, did you look at the cost that it would be? Did you look at the collateral damage that it could cause to the people within the company? And when we look at this happens all the time. Discernment comes from discretion. Discretion comes first, but before discretion comes insight. Before insight comes understanding. Before understanding comes knowledge. Before knowledge comes wisdom. Before wisdom comes the fear or respect of God. That just means spending time with him. Discernment and knowledge create sustainability. And I tell you, as a leader, it's greater to have sustainability than it is to have growth. Little bits of increase over time. When you hockey stick in a company or in a relationship or in a family, you hockey stick, meaning that everything goes bang, it's really, really good. You got to understand that there's going to be a downside too. But you want sustainable growth as we go along. So the third part of the plan for leadership is kindness and generosity bring life. Kindness and generosity. Kindness is different than being nice. So to be kind is of contribution. To be nice is out of obligation. We've all been nice because we were supposed to. But kindness means that you are contributing to that environment or to that person. Kindness and generosity. Well, generosity is not just about giving away money. It's about sometimes being generous with your time. But also, look at this. In the second part of this plan, that wisdom's plan, it said discernment. Discernment and knowledge create sustainability. Discernment is the fact of seeing something and knowing you can do it, but it's asking, is it right for you to do it? And so you want to add this discernment to generosity because it's not just about going out and giving every single thing that you have, but utilizing discernment, but always being generous with every single aspect of your life, but not every time in every circumstance. And as leaders, we have to have kindness and generosity, and that'll bring life into your environment and in your culture. The fourth thing in this is in the leadership plan of from wisdom is great leaders follow greatly. Great leaders follow greatly. So if you want to be a great leader, you got to follow others greatly. Every leader that I've ever seen always has a board of directors. counsel, wise counsel that are around them. I'm very confident in this because I have a men's group every Tuesday at 7:30 to 8:30 in Carlsbad, California. It is open to any man that wants to come and hang out. It's completely, there's no charge for it. Come, it's amazing. But we have wise counsel in there. We have people that have built companies, have built, brands, have, been married, have been divorced, have all these things. So we have wisdom in so many different aspects of life. And that's great leaders follow greatly. The fourth part of this is seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all else will be added on. This is probably one of the things that my dad said to me the most in my whole entire life. My pops would constantly say this over and over again. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all else will be added on. It's Matthew 6:33, but it also is Proverbs 28, verse 5 and 14. So I would check into this because it's consistent. God's word is consistent. What he says, he does. When it's consistent, then you have respect, and that creates the fear or respect of God, which brings, as the beginning of wisdom, that'll bring knowledge, then that'll bring understanding, insight, discretion, discernment, discipline, strength, and back to the fear of God. I tell you, that circle is in the book. Check out the book and go through, but every leader, I tell you, once that circle is broken, you start having challenges. And in verse 6 and 11, or the sixth part of this is better a little bit of right than a whole lot of wrong. And in today's, society of scale, and I've got to scale this, and I've got to grow this, and I've got to have exponential growth, and I got to have growth year over year, and all these things. Better a little bit of right than a whole lot of wrong. And that's wisdom's plan for leadership. Sometimes it's okay to grow less if it's the right type of growth. And I have failed at this many, many times because I got so excited. Hubris set in, and that's in Jim Collins' book, How the Mighty Fail, or How the Mighty Fall. That was the follow-up to Good to Great, where he chronicled all the companies that he chronicled in Good to Great, and he chronicled how they all fell. And most of the time, that's the book that probably didn't sell as much as the other one. It was a little black book. The other one was red, and everyone talks about Good to Great, but they don't talk about the fact that most of those companies that were chronicled failed. And they all failed because of very similar reasons, and one of them was hubris, thinking that just because you did it before and it worked, that you could do it again. And this is where I failed as a leader. I did this so much. So better a little bit of right than a whole lot of wrong. And how do we know what's right? By just spending time with God, he'll let you know. In verse 7, discernment applies wisdom. When you have true discernment, you apply wisdom. Wisdom is the right use of knowledge. So when we have wisdom, it's the right use of knowledge. We bring in knowledge. We gain that knowledge. Then we gain understanding from that knowledge. From the understanding, we gain insight. From the insight, we gain discretion. From the discretion, we gain discernment. From the discernment, we gain discipline. From the discipline, we gain strength. And that strength will help us to realize that we should not be relying on ourselves or our strength, but back to the fear of God. It keeps the circle. I tell you, it keeps on going. As a leader within this plan, in verse 8, 10, 15, and 16, be good to people and do good business. Very, very simple. I look at sport clips. Gordon Logan, I look at Edward Logan now, and I look at my friend Julie Vargas. All three of these amazing, amazing leaders that lead Gordon started, it's a $1 billion a year company, Sport Clips. When I look at that, they're good to people and they do good business. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. And when you sit down with Gordon, he's not trying to, blow your mind with something. When I sit down with Edward, he's good to people. And he does good business. Julie Vargas, she's good to people. And she does good business. That's what leaders do. Sustainable ones, at least. In verse 9, listen to wisdom's instruction. Listen to wisdom's instruction. Well, what is wisdom? It's the right use of knowledge. Where do we get that? From the fear of God. That means you're spending time with God. That means that you're actually listening to what he's telling you to do. And when he tells you to do something, I could guarantee you it's the right thing to do, although most of the time, or a lot of times, we resist. In verse 12. Great leaders celebrate their people and are celebrated by their people. Now, both of those go together. There's some leaders that don't stick to the plan of wisdom, and they celebrate people, but they're not celebrated by their people because there's other aspects they're not sticking to the plan. But when you stick to the plan of wisdom, watch this. Great leaders celebrate their people, and they do it publicly because they're not afraid that their people will become great and overpower them. But here's the caveat. And they are celebrated by their people. Working with John Paul for as long as I did, John Paul DeJoria, I celebrated him as a leader. I celebrated him as a man. The reason why is because it impacted my family in such an amazing way. For me, you can't separate the things, my belief in the company that I worked within. You can't separate me from that because I saw the effects personally in my life. Great leaders celebrate their people publicly and are celebrated by their people. In verse 13, great leaders are transparent. Now, it doesn't mean you tell everyone everything, but you are transparent when you're asked a question or you work through things and you don't hold things in the dark. Now, not everything is for everybody. Don't get it twisted, but great leaders are transparent. In verse 17 and 18, great leaders do right. What is right? And how do we know when it's right? Well, when you spend time with God and you see that his words and his actions are in line and you're guided by that, you're going to do the right thing at the right time, in the right circumstance, and the right thing will turn out. But it'll be his will, his purpose, his plan, and his timing. That last one is tough to swallow at times. In verse 19 through 28, as this sums it up, is great leaders work their land, are faithful, seek justice, are generous and steadfast, full of respect. They know that God is in control, and they are celebrated because they serve their people. Boom. See, when I look at this, wisdom's plan is clear, concise, and undefeated. Why do leaders fail faster than their team? I think you can answer that question now. Well, my name is Kelly Cardenas, and I hope you had a phenomenal day. The greatest thing that you could ever do for me is comment on the podcast. It's that simple. Comment, share it with a friend, do a review, one of those things. But I tell you, that's the greatest compliment that you could give me. And I just want to tell you, I thank you for your time. I respect your time. I respect you as leaders, every one of you, no matter who you are. You're a leader. You're a leader in your car. If you're listening to it in your car right now, you're listening to it on your walk, you're listening to this podcast, wherever, you are a leader. There are people looking to you. And if you simply stick to the plan, wisdom's plan, that is, then your leadership can be sustainable. Hopefully you have a phenomenal day. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got two shines, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.